Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. We now have new information on Chapter 4 of Beyond. It's arrived a lot earlier than many of us would have expected. What's more, Frontier have announced that the update will be going into public beta within the next few weeks. So the latest information focuses on one of the major updates with Chapter 4, and that is the new exploration changes. So essentially, the new exploration changes are about making exploration as an activity far more involving, and it's going to do this through various new gameplay changes. And this has been broken down into 6 separate areas, which are as follows: replacing flying time with gameplay, removing a random unidentified signal source spawning, reducing the time to find planetary surface locations, improving multiplayer exploration, changing exploration so that it can be better tied in with mining, missions and signal sources in general, as well as a new ability to do surface mapping. Now, one of the most important things about exploration is that much of it takes place within deep space, far from civilization. With this in mind, Frontier have decided that the new exploration mechanics will not require new modules, as that means many players would have to return back from their deep space journeys, so effectively they'll be able to stay out there and carry on playing and pick up these new changes where they are. A part of this will begin with a new interface which will appear with the activation of the Discovery Scanner. Now this is a camera view, but you can still see some of the regular UI in the top left and top right of the screen. Now Frontier haven't given a breakdown on what each of the elements in this image actually are about, but it's worth keeping in mind that this is a work in progress. However, what we do know is that this new interface will allow you to interrogate the star system that you are currently located in. Now, when you arrive in the star system, you will be able to do the discovery honk as usual, except now it will no longer reveal all the bodies within the star system. Instead, it will only reveal the main star, the one that you actually arrive at. Now this, of course, is a pretty massive change, and I suspect some people may object to it. However, its removal will allow a new functionality or new gameplay to be added. It's also worth noting that the initial discovery scan will still generate credits, just as it currently does. Now, along with the initial scan, you will also receive additional system data, and this will come in the form of what Frontier are calling emissions, which will give indications of the variety of objects that are in the system and which range they are located. Now these signals will have a variety of strengths, and that will allow you to determine the type of planet they represent. Lower signals for rocky worlds, and stronger signals or broader signals for gas giants, for example. The clarity of the signal would also be determined by distance or affected by distance, but more on that in just a minute. Now, to locate these stellar bodies, you will have to move your view around the system, that's the star system, allowing your interface to detect the gravitational disturbances that these bodies are making. Assuming that you can correctly tune your systems to this data, you'll be able to align the interface to it. However, distance will play a factor here. The further away you are, the weaker the signal will be, therefore the harder it will be to find. But conversely, the closer you are, the stronger. Now I just want to jump in here and say that sometimes when I make videos like this about new upcoming updates, I sometimes see questions down below as to asking why I'm not showing footage of the process in action. The reason for that is pretty clear. It's because the update isn't out there yet. There's no footage to show. But yeah, once you've correctly aligned the signal to your interface, it will generate a zoomed in view of the body that you've discovered, and you can see that right here on the screen now. So when you've achieved this, you will learn the Discovered By tag, and you can do this without even flying directly to the planet. But that said, you will still need to set your data at a station to gain the tag, just as you currently do. Now, discovering a planet in this manner would also reveal other data about it, such as the materials that are present on it, as well as any unusual locations, such as Guardian sites. However, to find the specific location of these things, you will need to take further action, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. The other aspects that's changing is unidentified signal sources. Now currently these appear pretty much at random. They do have specific locations, of course. Depending on where you fly, it will determine what sort of signal sources are most likely to spawn near you. But the random element of this is being completely removed. What will happen instead is that all signal sources will spawn as soon as you jump into the system, and this means that you'll have to use the new exploration tools to discover them. Now there's no details on precisely how this will work, but it seems likely that it will be very similar to how planets are going to be discovered. The location of the signal sources will still be determined by the current rules for their placement, however it will certainly feel a lot less like hide and seek. One of the things I touched on a moment ago is the new ability to discover things down on the surface of planets, and essentially the detailed surface scanner will gain a new ability to allow for this. You'll be able to launch small probes which can be synthesized and are stored in the form of ammo, and these can be used to map the planet's surface and locate hotspots within the rings. Again, there will be another new interface to use this, which will give you a camera's perspective of what the probe sees. Each probe will scan a segment of the planet, and when enough data is gathered, the interface will be able to assemble a planetary map. Now, this won't be an automated process, but will require careful aim from the player. There will be an element of skill to this, which will allow you to generate all the necessary data without having to fly around the planet. Although it also appears that if you would prefer, you can fly around the planet and achieve the same end, so there's both options. Now, the generated maps and the gathered data will then be able to reveal the location of any surface anomalies, so this would be things such as the planetary space pumpkins we've seen, brain trees, thargoid forests, and all sorts of things. Mapping a planet will also generate a first mapped buy tag, and this will be an additional thing to the current discovered buy tag. So this effectively means that there'll be able to be one player who discovers a planet and another player at a separate time if you want, who actually goes out and maps the planet. The new exploration mechanics are also going to take advantage of multi-crew, and this means that one player will be able to use the discovery scanner whilst another uses a surface scanner whilst another flies a ship. So effectively, players will be able to group up and map systems much quicker if they do everything together. All discoveries done in this way will be shared among the crew. So there we have it then. These are the proposed changes for exploration in Chapter 4. I say they're proposed, but at this point it's likely they're pretty much set in stone, with perhaps some degree of flexibility as into how some of the specifics actually work. At least that's the way things seem to go in the past with this type of feedback. Either way, they certainly sound like some very good changes, though of course the proof will be in the pudding. We're going to have to wait until we actually get to see them. But I really do like the idea of the changes making exploration more deterministic, especially with the ability to go out and discover unidentified signal sources. Now, I do suspect that some people are going to be not too happy about losing the ability to uncover an entire system map with a single button press, but to be perfectly honest, it wasn't really optimal gameplay to start with. Perhaps that could be considered by some as removing certain functionality, but in doing so, it certainly opens up avenue for a lot more depth gameplay. Do let me know your thoughts and feelings on this. I'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Additionally, you can head on over to the new Discord channel that I opened. It's actually turned out to be pretty busy. It only opened on Monday and already it's got nearly 1,500 users in there. So if you want to talk about Elite Dangerous, or indeed if you want to talk about anything else, any game, any subject, or if you just want to have a chat, then head on over there. There's a nice growing community. A link below, go click on it. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.